Welcome back, Phil 301. Dr. K here. I hope you all are doing well. So in our last video, we looked at Ghazali's analysis of a human being. We saw he took a human being to be composed of two main parts, a bodily part, what he also calls the external form, and an inner spirit, which he also calls the soul, the self, the heart, the true person. And we also saw that he identifies you most essentially with that inner part, the inner spirit or heart, etc. In this video, we're going to look in more detail at what he takes the inner spirit or the heart to be. And in that way, look in more detail at what he takes you to be. Let's have a look then at his analysis of the inner spirit or heart. Now, the first thing to note is where Ghazali is talking about the heart, where he's using it synonymously with the inner spirit, the true self or true person, the soul. He is not talking about the organ in your chest, right? As he says, when we refer to the heart, we're not referring to the lump of flesh which is found on the left side of the chest. That thing has no special merit and is possessed also by the beast, the dead, and can be seen by the external eye. So by the heart, remember, he's speaking about something that is non-physical or spiritual. It's invisible to the eyes of the body, and it is what you are in the deepest and truest sense. Right? So the heart, in the sense that Ghazali is using it, is not your body as a whole. It's not a part of your body, say the part right here that pumps your blood. It's not somehow the movements of your body. You might think that it's something like my thoughts. That's what the heart is. And Ghazali's going to say, no, it's not even that. It's way deeper down than your thoughts. What I want to show you next is a graph I have, which I think illustrates the relations Ghazali takes your heart to stand in to your body, your thoughts, to your imagination, or images in your mind, bodily sensations, etc. Okay, so what this is a graph or diagram which attempts to illustrate the various relations Ghazali takes the heart to stand in to other things which you may want to identify with yourself, but strictly speaking, Ghazali doesn't take to be identical to you in the sense of you as the heart. So this graph will help us better understand the heart and thus ourselves, because it helps us to better understand the relations in which the heart stands to other things that are closely connected to us, but strictly speaking, aren't identical to us or our true selves. Okay, so let me map out the terrain of what is on this graph first. So below the line in the center of the graph, we have the heart. Above that line, moving from left to right, we have sensory perceptions or bodily perceptions, the body itself, bodily movements, thoughts, and imaginings. And there are two kinds of arrows that I use to illustrate different relations between the heart and the other elements on the graph. The straight arrow equals a causal relation. So if you have a straight arrow running from the heart to one of the other elements, that's to illustrate some type of causal relation between the heart and one of the other elements. If you have the squiggly arrow, that's to indicate an awareness of relation. So if you have a squiggly arrow running from the heart to one of the other elements on the graph, then that's to indicate an awareness relation between the heart and that other element, to say that the heart is aware of that other element or instances of that other element. And the arrow all the way on the left that runs vertically, that doesn't indicate a causal relation, but indicates something like the lower down one of the elements on the graph is, the more identical, the closer it is to what you are in the true sense. And the higher up, then the further away that gets from what you actually are in a true sense. We could also think of the line in the center of the graph that runs horizontally as separating what you are, namely what's below the line, with things that are closely related to you but are not identical to you. And those are the things that are above the line. Okay, so now having gone over the different elements of the graph, let's start looking at specific relations Ghazali takes the heart to stand in to various other aspects of a human being. All right, so let's start from the left. Ghazali takes the heart to be aware of sensory perceptions or bodily perceptions. These would be sensations, visual sensations, taste, feelings, touch, sounds, smells, things like that. Notice there's no causal arrow there. There's just the squiggly awareness arrow. So he doesn't take the heart to cause these things. Rather, these things would be caused by the interaction of the physical world with the body. But he does take the heart to be what is aware of these sensations. Notice also that being above the line in the center of the graph, Ghazali doesn't take sensations to be part of or identical in any way with the heart. And since he takes the heart to be identical to you, he doesn't take bodily perceptions or sensations to be identical to you in any way. Now, what we said of the relations between the heart and sensations, Ghazali also takes to be the case between the heart and the body on the whole. That's to say, he doesn't take the heart to be the cause of the body. He does, however, take the heart to be aware of the body. And again, the body being above the horizontal line indicates that Ghazali doesn't take the body to be identical in any way to the heart. Now let's look at the relations Ghazali takes to hold between the heart and the movements of the body. So here we see a straight line between the heart and bodily movements. That is to indicate that Ghazali takes the heart to be in control of the body, to direct its bodily movements. Remember in the last video, Ghazali said that the heart is the monarch of the body. It's what's to rule the body. So imagine you're writing with a pen. It's the heart that is directing the movement of your hand. Or imagine you're getting up to walk across the room. It is the heart that is directing the trajectory of the body and its movements as it goes across the room. And there's also a squiggly line here between the heart and the bodily movements to indicate that the heart is what is aware of the movements of the body, where it is in the room, where it's going, those kinds of things. And again, because the movements of the body are above the horizontal line in the center of the graph, that's to indicate that the movements of the body are in no way identical to the heart. Next, let's look at Ghazali's take on the relation between the heart and thoughts or ideas one might have. So let's note first that there is a straight line arrow between the heart and the thoughts. That's to indicate that Ghazali takes the heart to be the cause of thoughts. That way we could say it is a thinker, right? The heart is a thinking thing. It's a cause of thoughts. And there's also a squiggly line between the heart and thoughts to indicate Ghazali takes the heart to be the thing that is aware of thoughts that are had, right? So it's not the body in any way, the brain, the nervous system that causes the thoughts or is aware of the thoughts. It's the heart that both causes and is aware of thoughts. Notice also that thoughts appear above the horizontal line in the middle of the graph. That's to indicate that while Ghazali takes a causal and awareness relation to stand between the heart and thoughts, he doesn't take thoughts to be in any way identical to the heart or the self in the true sense of the word. Lastly, let's consider the relations Ghazali takes to hold between the heart and imaginings or images in your mind. So, for example, if I was to tell you to imagine or hold the image of a square in your mind, or maybe even a whale with a bow tie, then that image in your mind is all I mean by an imagining, right? Once again, notice that there is both a straight arrow and a squiggly arrow between the heart and imaginings. This is to indicate that Ghazali takes, on the one hand, the heart to be the cause of imaginings, right? So you can initiate daydreams or different images in your mind, as you no doubt just did with the example of the square and the whale wearing a bow tie. And he also takes the heart to be the thing that is aware of such images or imaginings. And again, with imaginings being above the horizontal line, that indicates that Ghazali takes them to not be identical in any way to the heart or the self in the truest sense. Now notice one more thing on the graph, and that's to say the squiggly line which comes from the heart and back to itself. What that is to indicate is that Ghazali takes the heart to be the thing that is aware of itself, right? It's not the body or anything else that's aware of the heart. The heart is what is aware of itself, right? So the heart, we could say, has the capacity for self-reflection and self-awareness. All right, so in this video, we went more deeply into Ghazali's account of the heart or the self in the true sense, what you are in the truest sense. And we mainly got clearer on what it was by talking about how Ghazali conceives of its relations to various other elements, we could say, of a human being, such as the body of the human being, the sensations or perceptions of the human being, the movements of the human being, thoughts, and imaginings. As we saw, Ghazali took the heart to be in no way identical to these things. Rather, he took the heart to either stand in a causal or an awareness relation to these things, or both. Another way we could sum up what we saw here is that Ghazali takes the heart to be way deeper down than thoughts, imaginings, bodily movements, sensations, etc. Rather, it's what initiates these things and is aware of them, and it's also what is aware of itself. And as we'll see in the next video, Ghazali is going to argue that the heart and the way he's conceived of it is a reality because it's directly experienceable. And he's also going to argue, as we'll see in future videos, that it's not a bodily or physical object because our awareness of it involves awareness of nothing bodily, and because it's not divisible. So I'll see you in the next video, guys. Dr. K out.